Hey guys, happy Sunday. I'm recording the astrology notes for the week of the 30th of March to the 5th of April. And as I'm recording the big event, the big event, one of the big event we've had so many big events, but this is actually a really big deal. Neptune is moving into Aries today. And I also have a video like going in depth about that, but I'll mention it here because it's worth noting. Neptune in Aries is really going to support us in seeing the truth and being the change, and the ideas of justice and balance and wisdom, and also viscerally being able to see and connect things and know without a doubt what is true and what we value. Okay, so Neptune's going to be in Aries from 30th of March until the 22nd of October this year. And then it's going to go back into the sign of Pisces from October 22nd to January 26th, 2026. And then from January 26th, 2026 until 2039, Neptune's going to be in the sign of Aries. Big deal, generational planet, collective consciousness raising. We're really going to be getting some downloads for psychic abilities and intuitive abilities, and for those that are interested in coming online. So check out the video where I go in a deeper dive with that, but that's a really wonderful way to kick off this week. That's on Sunday, the 30th. So immediately after, the very next day, on the 1st of April, we have Lady Venus conjoining the North Node in the sign of Pisces. And this is perfect to come on the heels of Neptune moving out of Pisces and into Aries. To have Venus conjunct the North Node at the later degrees of Pisces is really giving us a dose of harmony and justice and balance, and the deep soul level beyond linear time and space wisdom that will bring an even greater compassion and understanding for those principles. It's almost like it's going to be this, because the North Node is conjunct Venus, and this is at the last signs of the last degrees of the last sign of the zodiac. There's going to be a karmic feeling about it. There's going to be a you can't, beyond linear time and space, but also very much about linear time and space, in the sense that there are laws of the universe, there are karmic laws, there are laws of attraction, there are laws of physics. So there's these bigger principles that are going to start to come through on the 1st, and Venus is there to add the dose of justice and harmony and balance. So cool. The rest of the events for this week are all taking place on the 4th of April. And there's a lot going on that day. We have Mercury next is going to come to conjoin the North Node. And this is pretty cool, also in the sign of Pisces. So Venus conjoin the North Node, then Mercury comes next. So Venus is giving us the downloads of truth and the downloads of wisdom. And then Mercury comes along to say, all right, now communicate it, speak it, and not just speak it. We speak with not speaking. Non-action is as important as action, right? So vibration. And so that means communicate our truth with the integrity of everything we do, as above, so below, as within, so without. We also have on this day Saturn sextiling Uranus. So Saturn adds another layer of this kind of karmic wisdom. I mentioned the term karma with Venus conjunct the North Node. Saturn sextiling Uranus. Saturn in Pisces, Uranus in Taurus. Sextiling is flowing of energy. And so Saturn is also sitting in Pisces. Saturn is a karmic planet in general, but I don't think of Saturn as a bad thing. Saturn is helping us be in this physical world. Saturn is making sure that there are limits on some of these things that we're wanting to create, because Saturn wants to make sure that the foundation of the house is steady and stable, that we're not just overextending ourselves and spinning ourselves out to something that is not actually possible. So there's going to be a little bit of this idea of reality check, but reality check sextiling Uranus and Taurus is like not the kind of reality check that is a bad check. It's or it could be a bad check if we're way out of whack. But the idea here is also going to be like above linear and beyond linear time and space rocket fuel for realizations. And I mentioned in the video with about Neptune going into Aries that this is a really magical year for intuitive abilities coming online, these kind of psychic abilities or these ways. Psychic has this loaded term to it. Every human has an intuition. Every human can read energy. Every human can sense truth. And sometimes it's just an atrophied muscle. We have to figure out how to ride the bike again because there's been so many lifetimes where we're not doing this stuff, right? We're going to get a little dose of extra help here to be able to see truth. That's what's coming through for humanity. So it's not just psychic abilities, woo woo for the special few. It's like, no, we're really all being invited and ushered into this time of seeing things clearly. On the 4th, we also have Mars sextiling Uranus. Mars is in its fall in the sign of Cancer. Sextiling Uranus is going to give it the opportunity to do the right thing. So if there's any part about us or about our world or about the collective that's been sort of hiding and telling an egoic story that may not be true, there's going to be an invitation this week. Maybe the invitation is being able to see something, but there's going to be an opportunity to pivot if we are in the position where we want or need to pivot away from something that we've been running that is not true. Mars is also trining Saturn in Pisces. So this is a really cool little trifecta of planets. So the trining of Saturn and Pisces is saying that all three of these planets are aspecting each other, right? So we have Uranus, Mars, and Saturn dancing. And I think it's really fortunate that all three of them are in communication, because Saturn trine Mars is gonna pull the reins a little bit if the reins need to be pulled. Gonna check something if it's spinning out of control, because that's what Saturn does. Saturn is the karmic planet, but Saturn is the karmic planet so that things actually are able to manifest in the 3D world. So this is a week to read the energy, really sit with what our internal knowing of truth is, and spend time alone or in silence or contemplating, what is it that I feel is true? Not what does somebody else feel is true. Not what does the news tell me, that not what my favorite author or whoever, mom, partner, what do I feel is true? That's what's coming through right now. And then the cherry on the top of the cake, or the icing, whatever you want to call it, is the last aspect that's happening in the 4th, is we have our sun quintile to Pluto. So Sun in Aries, quintile Pluto in Aquarius. A quintile is a really cool aspect. This is about hidden talents. This is about creative potential. So the Sun is our egoic self, our 3D physical self, our identification. And to have the Sun in Aries, quintile Pluto in Aquarius, is all about the collective and the creative potential of the collective, the hidden power, the hidden talents of the collective. I'm going to go out on a limb here and just bring in the idea. It's a Tibetan Buddhist idea when I came across it, but it's about the idea of where there's 1,000 people gathered doing some sort of meditation. That's enough people to raise the vibration of the collective consciousness. So the notion there is that it's not a linear game of 1 + 1 = 2. One person that's coming online to see their truth and interested in healing the planet plus one person equals 2. It's more like 1 + 1 = 5 in this idea of a quintile, especially with the quintile being with the Sun in Aries and to Pluto in Aquarius. So I think this is going to be a really exciting week. I hope that you mark your calendars and join me for our live astrology gathering this next Saturday. And bright blessings, and thank you for joining.